In the house in the woods, the girl waits for the monster to come.
Ooh, welcome to the Book Barn, everyone. We have a page-turner to discuss today. I'm Laisha.
And I'm Lainey.
And let's talk books. Today we are joined by one of our reading buddies to talk about this thrilling novel. So please welcome our friend Tracy.
Hello.
Hi, Tracy. So we're very excited to have you, and we've got a lot to talk about today. But first, we're going to ask you some questions.
How about you introduce yourself as if someone were introducing you? That takes the pressure off of us.
Okay, I can do that. Hey, everyone. Let me introduce you to an amazing person. This is Tracy Ruark, a super dedicated mother of boys who knows how to keep things lively. She's a fantastic teacher, shaping young minds every day, and also a proud Grammy who loves spending time with her family. Independent and friendly, she brings warmth and positivity wherever she goes. You're going to love getting to know her.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That was great. So, our next question, what advice would you give to someone who was joining our field?
Okay, as an elementary teacher, I would say be flexible. In education, things can change daily, and students learn differently. Also, build relationships with your students. It truly makes a difference.
Oh, and you do that. I see that. So, good answer.
Yeah, great advice. So, Tracy, you're a teacher, and we know that you just finished spring break. Did you guys go anywhere over break?
We actually did take a little trip to Tulsa. We have two younger boys, 9 and 7, and you have to get them out and about. So just a short trip, but
Yeah, keep them busy.
not too far.
But I'm curious, what has been your all-time favorite trip?
Probably my favorite trip, now that we have the younger boys, has been to Colorado. My family traveled there a few years ago, and we were able to just spend time in nature and enjoy the scenery, and Colorado's just beautiful all around. So
It is, yeah. I've been there several
relaxing.
times. Yeah.
I drove through, but I've never really stopped and
you
enjoyed
being
it.
somebody who likes to hike, I mean,
I know.
that's what Colorado's all about. You
We
know,
need
all the
to go.
outdoors. So, yeah.
We had no agenda. It was just enjoying the family time in the nature. So
Yeah,
it was fun.
nice.
Okay, so this next question is a little bit controversial. Who are your top favorite 3 sports teams?
Okay. My very favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a huge football fan, thanks to my dad. He watched the Kansas City Chiefs the whole entire time I was growing up, and so naturally I love them. My second favorite team are the Kansas Jayhawks men's basketball team. My brother-in-law, Dustin, has been in my life since I was probably 15 or so. He's been a huge fan of the Jayhawks since the 80s, and so his enthusiasm of basketball rubbed off on me, and so now I'm a huge basketball fan for the Jayhawks. And then my last favorite sports team is the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and the reason I follow them is I really wanted to go to college there. Life took me in a different direction, but I still follow them, and I love to watch the different sports that they play. So
Awesome. Do you have a favorite, Laisha?
I don't. You know, I'm not a sports girl. My husband likes OU, so.
And we like the Huskers, so go Big Red.
Okay, Tracy, who is your favorite author, if you have one?
I can't say that I have a favorite author. I mostly read recommendations, so I don't necessarily read just one author in general, but I do, or I have read a lot of Danielle Steel. I wouldn't say she's my favorite, but I really like just to take other people's recommendations and read them. So
Yeah, great answer.
That was a good answer. Last question. So what book would you recommend to our listeners and why?
since becoming a part of this book club, I have gotten to read a lot of fantastic books, but I think the one that sticks with me the most and the one that I would probably recommend to people would be A Lineage of Grace. I really loved all the stories about the 5 women in the lineage of Jesus, and I think it kind of encapsulates a great message that everyone can find grace regardless of their past.
I love that book.
Yeah, love it. All right. Today, we're going to switch gears from Lineage of Grace, that's for sure. And we are talking about our March book club pick, and it's a book of the month selection. So Lainey's kids got her a book of the month membership for Christmas.
Such a great gift.
What a great gift is right. Yeah.
I need to drop a hint.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, the book was written by Kate Alice Marshall, a best-selling author who lives in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, so I found a quote from Freida McFadden. We read her books as well. About this book, she said, "A Killing Cold is a gripping tale full of dizzying twists and turns. It is packed with suspense and kept me frantically turning pages until the very end." And that comes from Freida McFadden. So that's a pretty good quote.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Okay, so right from the start, we meet Theodora Scott, who finds herself in a dangerous situation with a man named Connor. And we learn that Theo and Connor are deeply in love, and he is showering her with expensive gifts. Like he got her an almost $500 red cashmere scarf.
Okay, that is ridiculous.
It is.
I would never buy a scarf for $500.
Yeah, but we really learned that his family has a whole lot of money.
Yes. So you would think, what's not to like? He's rich, he's charming, he's good looking. But then things start to kind of unravel when Theo gets invited to his family's mountain home. Is it a home or
Cabin.
Is it
Well, it's
multi-cabins?
It's an estate.
It's an estate.
I think they even said they own the mountain
Yeah.
at some point in the book.
Yes. So it's the main lodge and lots of smaller cabins scattered around. Idlewood.
Yes.
What a setting, right? But the moment that Theo arrives at Idlewood, you know that something is wrong. The area is remarkably secluded, and it feels kind of like a place that's full of stories and secrets.
Maybe a bit eerie.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It is. Do you have a word that you think kind of, what am I trying to say here? A word that like encompasses the whole book. Like,
Well,
what is eerie the word you would use?
When you quoted Freida McFadden, you used the word gripping, and that's one word that I also had written down, a gripping thriller.
See, and I was thinking chilling.
Gripping, chilling, eerie.
But I feel like
mysterious.
it was a thriller. Like I felt like it kept you turning the pages.
Absolutely.
Well, there was always questions, you know? So we needed a lot of answers. As a matter of fact, by the end of chapter 4, I made a note. I just started listing questions that I had.
Oh, good idea.
I had, why was Connor unhappy before? Who was texting Theo about Connor? What happened with her parents? Why is she a devil child? What is her real name? Who is the monster? You know, the man from her dreams, the antlered man.
Yes.
What secrets are the Daltons hiding? What does the dream mean? The red scarf. There were just so many questions, like right there at the very beginning.
Many questions. Yes.
The star, the cold, the dragonfly.
You know what? I just now realized the red scarf. He bought her a red scarf. I never put that together.
Probably because she dreamed about the red scarf. Yeah, probably so. But I don't know. Her dreams were nightmares, so that's kind of a little bit creepy that he would buy her a red scarf.
Yeah, I never put that together until just now. So snow makes everything feel so quiet and unsettling.
I don't know about that. I kind of
like the snow?
I actually like the calmness that kind of a blanket of snow will create, but I do agree that the isolated feeling, it's kind of amped up in the snow, and that it creates almost an eerie feeling for the cabins. And Theo has this strong feeling that she's been in this place before, and that's when things really kind of start to get interesting.
Just those flashbacks, I think it was right there in her memory. It just wouldn't come back.
Right.
But it's like deja vu, kind of like I know I've been here before.
Right.
Feeling is what I got from the story.
Right. I had little notes taken that, you know, they were just trying to resurface.
Yes.
They were there, and she kept seeing things or feeling things or just having those moments, and they weren't surfacing yet, just right out of reach.
She was just drawn to the cabin, the dragon, what was that?
Dragonfly.
And she just kept going back, and you knew something was going to unfold there.
Right.
So let's talk about Theo. So her character really evolves as the story progresses. We learn that her real name is not Theodora.
Well, Teddy, but,
yes.
Rowan. Yeah.
I think the reason they called her Teddy is because she always carried around a teddy bear.
He gave her a gift.
Are we doing some spoilers already? Do we need to say that?
We probably need to put that in here.
Okay, so if you haven't read A Killing Cold and you plan to, you probably want to go ahead and press stop.
So I have a paragraph, and it fits perfectly right here when we're talking about Theo and her name.
Okay.
My paragraph is from chapter 6, page 45, and Theo is up before Connor. He's still in bed. I sit alone, sipping my coffee, letting the scents of Theo Scott seep into my limbs. She's never there when I first open my eyes. I am an empty house without her, restless, dull. And then she enters in. Not something I've constructed, no meticulously planned illusion, more like a visitor, someone who arrives every day and yet remains, in some ways, a stranger. Doesn't even feel comfortable with herself.
No. And we know that there's kind of a lot of secrets going on. The family's pretty dysfunctional, and she really couldn't trust anyone because there was just so much going on. But I felt like she couldn't even trust herself. Like she would be running off to the cabin in the middle of the night in the snow. And I'm like, who does that?
Especially after you've already had those feelings like there was something eerie about it to begin with.
Yeah.
To just take off. And
so my paragraph, I think I have a lot of them written down, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go with one about the Dragonfly cabin. So this is a time that she had, maybe the first time that she entered in there by herself. Okay, so she has arrived at the cabin. My hand falls to the door, certain that it's locked. But as if it has been expecting me, the knob turns. I push the door inward. It catches slightly, the door sitting unevenly in its frame, and then the springs open. I let go. The door swings inward, and I try to remember how to breathe.
That's pretty good.
That might have you on the edge of your seat right there. Like, what's behind that door?
Yeah.
I have a short one, and I think it kind of just summed up the book a little bit for me. It says, sometimes the only way to escape the darkness is to confront it head on. And for me, that kind of just captures the essence of facing one's fears and challenges. And so I always try to look for something in a book that I can kind of take away from it. And that was my takeaway, I guess.
All right. So you're going to be running to the cabin in the dark by yourself through the snow?
Maybe. No.
Maybe? No. That is not me. You're very brave. So her past, she has this adoptive family.
So we have to talk about them. We just do. They were fundamentalist. They were ultra religious.
Yeah, they were, but they were not, yeah.
Do we really know how she ended up with them?
I just remember she was delivered to them.
Yes.
I don't remember who the
It was set up
person was.
That she needed to be a new person.
Right. And she liked the dad, the Joseph, for a while.
For a while, yeah. I mean, because he was the nicest to her, but she didn't really feel like he loved her.
That'd be tough. So Grandpa Magnus, he was kind of the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
The wife was more the matriarch, but I do feel like Magnus had a lot of say.
I really thought you could trust him in the beginning. Like, I really felt like he was taking to her because he genuinely liked her. But then as the book progressed, you couldn't trust him either. Like, he had ill intentions, I think, as well.
Well, in the beginning, I actually thought maybe she could trust Nick, too. And wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a big wrong. He was the first one to say, have you ever been called Teddy?
Yes.
So he did kind of recognize her, or thought he did kind of right there in the beginning. And then she's like, no, I never have. So he brushed it off. But yeah, he was the bad guy.
Yes.
So, her family, though, I mean, that really kind of shaped her actions that she had in the present.
Oh, definitely. I had down that Magnus even said, we are what our parents make us after all. And I wanted to ask you guys if you think that's true, that you are what your parents make you after all. And in Teddy's case, I think that it was a little bit of both. I think obviously she had to overcome all that.
Mm-hmm. I think you're definitely influenced by what your parents do, but I think that you can be who you want to be.
I agree.
Be anything you want to be.
Yeah. So her past really did shape her, but it doesn't define her entirely. But it is part of what makes her journey so fascinating.
Absolutely.
And, as far as Connor's family goes, they were something. Dysfunctional, for sure. We had Grandma Louise.
She was not nice.
No. And Trevor was creepy.
Yes.
And Uncle Nick, Trevor is Connor's brother. No. Is it his brother? Yes. Alexis is his sister.
I liked Alexis. And I liked Alexis's partner as well.
Paloma.
Yes. I feel like she was probably the most trustworthy
I think
of
so
the whole
too.
group because she wasn't a part of that. What about the mother?
Rose?
I mean,
Was that her name?
I was kind of surprised that they allowed her to stay a part of the family like that, like after
the husband
died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she didn't really do anything wrong. I mean, she was going to divorce him, but that was based on the fact that she believed he was cheating. And so they kept up with that story.
Right. That was sad.
I'll be honest, I feel like not all of the characters were truly very well developed. Like Rose, I don't know.
She was kind of left in the shadows a little bit, I feel like, too.
I don't know. I think I've been having a moment with books lately that
I enjoyed the book because I was on my seat, turning the pages, wanting to find out what the heck to all those questions you asked. Right. So I did like the book. I get what you're saying, though, because I kind of would get Nick and Trevor confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In my mind, I was never really quite sure if I was reading about the brother or if I was reading about the uncle.
Yeah.
So I did get confused on that a few times.
Well, and then her memories, her little flashbacks of those things that were trying to resurface for her, they would just kind of switch back to talking about that. And I mean, you could tell that's what it was, but it just kind of, I felt like it disrupted the flow a little bit. And I know we've read plenty of
thrillers,
I mean, plenty of dual timelines too. So, and we've talked about that. Sometimes those can get confusing. It just kind of, when you're forced to think of one period of time and then you're moved back to what is supposed to be the present. And I mean, I did want to keep turning the pages, but I'm going to be honest that I was really just glad that it was over.
Oh, you're the first person I've heard say that. We'll find out at book club how everyone else, felt. But
like, I didn't hate it. But I don't know. I do like thrillers, but I did find some of the stuff just pretty disturbing.
I will say I saw on several websites when I looked up the book warning content.
Yes.
Because there were some disturbing things.
Yes. So if you are a person that gets triggered by certain topics or events, you should research this book just a little bit before you just pick it up and go into it blindly.
I agree. I do.
It wasn't triggering to me. Like, it didn't make me feel like I had to put this down or it put me in a terrible mood, but it just wasn't a favorite for me.
I liked it. Did you like it?
I did like it.
Yeah. I think that's what's wonderful. Everybody gets something different from a book,
Yes.
Right. There was a sentence that I did want to read. Alexis is talking to Theo about Connor, and they're talking about being happy. And I think Alexis, let me find it. It's on page 34. It's also got some language, so I'm not going to read everything.
She will bleep that part out.
So this is Alexis talking to Theo about Connor. And so here Alexis says, I just want to see Connor happy again. He hasn't been for a long time. And Theo says, really? It's just that he's never struck me as unhappy. And I loved this line that Alexa replies with, maybe that's because the whole time you've known him, he's known you.
That is a good line.
And I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
And he does truly love her.
He
You
does.
can tell.
And Connor's not the bad guy.
No, he is not.
I did like that part, that he was true. He was good to her.
He was. And he was ready to...
To give up his family.
Yeah, he would. And when she said we need to leave, he was ready to do it with her. You know, he was ready to get out of there and
then
be
his
gone.
scandalous family.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Get Out?
No.
No.
Okay, well,
Similar?
no, it's actually not similar at all, except there is this creepy family and this girl brings her boyfriend to the family's house and things just go terribly wrong. The girlfriend is in on this terrible scheme.
Oh,
And
okay.
I kept thinking that was going to be Connor with her. And that was going to make me mad because I really did kind of like Connor. And I thought, oh, he's going to turn out to be one of the bad guys and she's going to have to get away from him. But then we had a happy ending with Connor.
Yay,
so
we
that
did.
was good.
I enjoyed that.
That redeemed it a little
Yes.
bit for me.
He's great, but his parents. It's a classic case of perfect family that's anything but perfect because they were terrible, his family.
Terrible.
The text messages, you've already mentioned them. I know who you are. I know what you did. It keeps you guessing the whole time. Did you guys know? Did you guess who it was?
I did not.
I didn't. No. Even when she found the phone and assumed that it was Magnus,
Yep.
I still wasn't convinced that it absolutely was. I thought, it could have been Trevor sending him from the phone that got hidden in there, or Nick, or, which I don't really think anybody else knew that he was sending.
No, but there for just a little bit, even though we liked her, the sister had those pictures too. So then you thought, oh,
Could have been.
maybe she's in on it.
Yeah.
But
she wasn't.
She was covering up something much bigger,
Yes, she was.
which
Her
surprised
own
me.
turmoil because she thought she had killed Rowan's mother.
Yeah. It's definitely a psychological thriller.
You know that Teddy, Rowan, Theo.
Theodora.
What is her name?
Theo, at this moment, Theo, she feels like she was hunted. You
Yeah.
know, she had that feeling of being hunted. And actually, there was a part that she was hunted.
Well, and then they tried to hunt her and accidentally killed someone else.
Olena.
Yes.
Oh,
That
well,
was
yeah,
kinda
that was a
sad.
different. She was being hunted because when they went out hunting and he told her to go sit on that rock, Connor shot her with an arrow.
Accidentally.
And it was an accident, but you didn't really know. I really did feel like it was an accident, but, she wasn't really certain at that point either.
Yeah, she said she thought that he saw her.
And then the caretaker, I can't even remember his name, comes in with a rifle.
Yeah.
I was really worried about that part with Connor when her friend, Theo's best friend, kept that information from her, how they met.
Oh, Harper,
That's when I was really worried that maybe he was in on it.
Right.
Maybe he was bringing her there to get rid of her. Mm-hmm. And then the story played out a different way, but I really thought that he could have been in on it at one point. So it did keep me guessing at points.
Yeah, me too.
It did. Me also. So did you think the ending was satisfying?
I did. Did you?
I thought it was okay. I thought it could have been a little more interesting, but
I love that she ended up with the dog.
Oh, that was
That was
cute.
sweet.
That
Yes.
was cute.
And I love that Connor, they stayed together.
Yes.
So that was good. So I did like the ending.
I did like the ending too. Yeah.
I just wish there was more closure for her, I guess. She still has these unsettling thoughts and wounds, but
Yeah. She didn't know exactly where her mom was buried. But,
exactly.
But they were just completely removed from everything just fell apart then.
Right.
So he did have a little bit of money left, but not enough they were just living comfortably, not.
But I think she was okay with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was okay with that. And I think Connor was okay with it also.
I agree. I read it very quickly. It was a page turner for me.
It was fairly short, too.
How many pages?
It's under 300. It was like 280 something, I think.
And probably pretty good size print, too, right? Yeah, decent print.
Yeah, 289 on the pages.
I thought it was a fairly easy read.
Yeah. And some of the girls from our book club that don't typically like some of our books, I'm hearing that they loved this book. So you just never know. Kind of funny. So I enjoyed it. I would read this author again. I'd give her another go.
I'd probably give her another try. I just felt like this wasn't my book. This wasn't the book for me.
So what would you rate this? We have such a terrible time rating. Would you only give it a 3 then?
Well, so here's what I was going to tell you to kind of shock you. I said I was going to give it a 5.
What?
Out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Because it was just all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't hate it. Didn't love it. Be sure and check the triggers.
I do love suspense, so this is
What
my
would
genre.
you rate it? Yeah, what would you rate it?
Compared to some of the other suspenses that we've read, I probably would go with about a 4 on this one.
4 out of 5?
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I think that's what we have to do because we've had trouble rating books, but I think we have to rate them within their genre because if not, it's just so hard.
You can't compare this to another.
You can't compare this to Lineage of Grace.
Lineage of Grace.
You can't. No, that's a whole different.
Yeah.
Which we did give a 5 to. We loved that book. So,
But I'm thinking about The Perfect Marriage, some of the, some other ones that we've read.
Well, there was some language. Not that it really bothered me, but there were some spicy moments too. And maybe I just wasn't in the mood for that. I don't know.
that can happen too. I know when I ordered it off of Book of the Month, they delayed the delivery of the book because it was so popular that they had to get more books in.
I did read a few kind of reviews, and the ones that I've read actually have been fairly mixed.
Okay.
Like they were kind of, I read one that was a 5-star, she loved it. There was another one that gave it like a 2.
Wow.
They just thought this book kind of fell flat for them. I thought she did a pretty decent job bringing all of those plot twists back together at the end.
You really didn't know. You had no idea who the bad guy was, which there are more bad guys than one.
Yeah,
but
they were all bad. It was just who actually killed her mother and
who killed the maid.
And I could just really get an image too about driving up this long roadway to this huge, massive place because of the way she described the setting. I think I could really, picture that.
Yeah.
I could as well. And it did feel chilling and cold to me.
And then she talked about the footprints in the snow leading up to the window. That was
pretty creepy.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah, and who did we decide? Was that Nick?
It was Nick.
He left
A gift.
What
was
was
the
the
windowsill?
What was the gift? I do remember leaving a gift, but I don't even remember what it was. I have booknesia.
Well, and some of us read the books, a couple weeks before we record. That'd be me. And it is hard to remember every little detail for sure.
And I just read it. I mean, I just finished it like less than a week ago when
You do have booknesia.
booknesia. I remember the way a book made me feel, and this one didn't make me feel great.
Okay.
A few lines in it did. There were a few lines, a few paragraphs that I was like, whoa, I loved that. I loved the way those words were put together. And I liked either the way that made me feel or just the way they all sounded together.
Laisha is a sucker for a well-written book.
I mean, yes. I can agree though, because I look for those lines too, like that. I look for those lines like what's going to make me feel something in this book, and
So here was a line. I'll read you this one. This was on page 62. And she's talking about Connor giving her a hug. He draws me to him, arms around me, and for the first time, it doesn't feel like comfort, but a cage. So, see, there were moments that I was like, oh, her writing was really good. The story just wasn't one that I love.
And you aren't wrong about the character development. You really aren't. Because I did have trouble, like I said, with the Nick and the, what was the other one's name?
Trevor.
Yes. I did get kind of lost on, okay, which one's which. I did get that feeling.
Yeah, they were both grumpy. So, they were both.
I think you could have told the same story with a few less characters, maybe. You know what I mean? Like
maybe, but then you
wouldn't have all those
all to keep guessing.
Right.
So yeah. I really can't pinpoint why I didn't love it.
Right.
It kind of reminds me almost of the game of Clue, like who did.
It is like Clue,
like who killed
who done it.
Yeah. So that's what it made me think of.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really guess correctly.
I can tell you I did not believe from the beginning, though, that he fell off the roof. Like, that wasn't believable to me.
I am glad the dad ended up being a decent guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was sad that he was going to lose his wife because
he was trying to help someone else.
Right.
And she loved him, too. I mean, the wife.
Right.
She seemed like a good person who really did love her husband and then was shocked to find out that, she believed he was cheating on her when he wasn't actually. He was trying to help.
Covering up abuse, basically, or trying to shield her from abuse.
Yes. Trying to get her out of that situation.
I cannot wait to hear what other people have to say about this book. So message us. Let us know. Get on our Facebook page. Tell us.
We'd love to hear from you.
It'll be interesting to see if this book gets the girls going like The Perfect Marriage did, because that was a crazy meeting.
It was.
So next on our list is The Wedding People, and it's by Alison. I don't know how to say her last name.
I don't know. Is it
Espach? I'm not really sure.
Espach.
Yeah, and we hate to say names incorrectly. And we have a couple other cool things in the future coming, I think. So that's exciting.
So do you recommend everybody read this?
I did recommend this to one of my paras because her daughter's name is Theo or Thea. I can't remember if it's Theo or Thea. She loved it.
Oh, she did love it.
She loved it, but she likes this genre.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and she said it's kind of got her back into reading.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, everyone, we maybe recommend this book.
We have mixed feelings.
So until next time, I'm Laisha.
I'm Lainey.
I'm Tracy.
And keep those bookmarks busy. That's good.